Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News. Today, the world looked at a peace deal, a rocket stock market, a courtroom food fight, and decided none of it was stressful enough without paperwork. Everything is being sold as historic, which usually means somebody spilled gasoline on the carpet and called it design. So grab your receipt, because today's chaos came with processing fees. Segment 1. The peace deal that still needs a tow truck. The United States and Iran electronically signed a preliminary peace framework, which sounds less like diplomacy and more like two divorced uncles agreeing by DocuSign not to fight at Thanksgiving. President Donald Trump is calling it a breakthrough, with Qatar and Pakistan helping push everybody toward the table, or at least toward the webcam where the table would have been. The plan says America lifts its naval blockade, the Strait of Hormuz opens toll-free, and everybody gets 60 days to talk about Iran's enriched uranium like it is a storage unit full of fireworks next to a daycare. Markets heard shipping lanes and started acting like a raccoon found a birthday cake in a dumpster. But this peace deal has more warning lights than a used riding mower with 3 owners and a mysterious smell. U.S. intelligence officials are reportedly skeptical. Israel says it is not bound by the agreement, and Iran says the ceasefire depends on Israel pulling out of Lebanon, which means we have peace the way a screen door has hurricane protection. The grounded point is simple. Hormuz matters because a huge chunk of the world's oil and natural gas moves through there, and that touches airline tickets, farm costs, and gas pumps. So yes, markets may calm down today, but the mines still need clearing, the ships still need confidence, and peace still looks assembled from spare parts behind a bait shop. Segment 2. The bomber crash and the drone swarm future. While the White House was trying to hang a mission accomplished, please clap banner on the Middle East, the U.S. military got hit with a tragedy at home. A B-52H Stratofortress crashed after takeoff from Edwards Air Force Base in California, killing all 8 people aboard during a test mission for upgraded radar. That is awful on a human level first, because behind every aircraft number are families now getting the worst knock on the door anybody can get. It is also a flashing red light for a military asking planes from the early 1960s to handle modern war like Grandpa can still win Fortnite if you just give him stronger glasses. And right as that happens, NATO is talking up a new Eastern Flank Deterrence Initiative in Europe, focused on drone swarms, missiles, open data sharing, and fast counter-drone projects with names like Flytrap and Bullfrog. I do like that national security now sounds like a summer camp, where every counselor has a classified laptop and a nervous eye twitch. But the serious part is that war has changed fast, and armies are trying to weld Silicon Valley speed onto Pentagon machinery that moves like a county fair tractor parade. So the next phase of defense looks like a $2 billion system trying to stop a $900 drone, which is using a base boat to swat a mosquito and bragging about maritime superiority. Segment 3. Newsom, primaries, and the political wood chipper. Back home, the Department of Justice is investigating California Governor Gavin Newsom, his wife Jennifer Siebel Newsom, and former associates. And Newsom is calling it a political hit job from the Trump administration. That does not mean the investigation is fake, and it does not mean everybody involved is innocent, because politics is where the smoke alarm goes off and half the room argues about who bought the batteries. The reported probe includes questions about donor relations, taxes, a nonprofit, and the aftermath of a former chief of staff pleading guilty in a separate corruption case. Newsom is asking for records and saying anyone who challenges Donald Trump ends up on a hit list, which is the kind of sentence that makes cable news producers levitate. Meanwhile, voters were at the polls in California and Nevada because democracy never sleeps. It just develops migraines and asks for smaller envelopes. California's 14th congressional district is holding a special election after Representative Eric Swalwell resigned, and the seat is expected to stay Democratic because the district is bluer than a freezer-burned otter pop. Nevada had primaries shaped by Governor Joe Lombardo's endorsements, where some candidates advanced and others got flattened by grassroots factions that treat party leadership like a raccoon treats a locked trash can. The grounded point is that 2028 is not waiting politely off stage. It is knocking over chairs in the lobby, and every courthouse, ballot, and county office is becoming a preseason scrimmage for the next national panic. Segment 4, Courts, School Walls, and History written in whiteout. The courts had themselves a buffet of American arguments, starting with the Supreme Court declining to revive Carter Page's lawsuit over surveillance tied to the old Russia investigation. Page challenged former FBI officials after the Justice Department Inspector General found serious errors and omissions in FISA warrant applications. But the lower court said the statute of limitations had run out. That is the legal system's favorite move. Everybody agrees something smells like a possum died in the ductwork. Then someone says, unfortunately, you filed the possum wrong. The court also turned away an Indiana student's speech case about anti-abortion club flyers, leaving schools with broad power to restrict political messages on their walls. Then a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to restore removed national park exhibits about slavery, labor history, climate change, and other uncomfortable facts that had been scrubbed under a history cleanup order. Judge Angel Kelly basically said you cannot take a whiteout pen to the country's past and call it patriotism, which is correct because history is not your nephew's report card after he discovered correction fluid. The administration says it is fighting insulting displays, but the removed material included exhibits about enslaved people in George Washington's household, labor struggles, and scientific information. If you need every museum to feel like a 4th of July truck commercial, you do not love history. You love a souvenir snow globe with the bad parts shaken out. Segment 5, Rocket Money, Streaming Control, and Everybody Else's Grocery Bill. On the money side, SpaceX pulled off the largest IPO in global history, raising tens of billions and pushing Elon Musk into reported trillionaire territory, which sounds like a Monopoly card written by a raccoon on cold medicine. The company's valuation is being treated like gravity got laid off, with investors betting on rockets, Starlink, defense contracts, XAI dreams, orbital data centers, Mars ambitions, and anything else inside the billionaire vision board. The funny part is we keep calling this capitalism, but the structure still gives Musk overwhelming voting control, while retirement accounts may get shoved into the rocket ride, whether retirees asked for zero-gravity exposure or not. The grounded concern is not that innovation is bad. It is that average people keep getting invited to fund rich guy moonshots while their own rent goes up like it joined a cult. Fox Corporation also announced a giant deal to buy Roku, because apparently winning the streaming wars now means owning the little box that asks your grandma if she wants to update apps. That deal is about distribution, data, sports, news, ads, and the power to control the digital home screen, which sounds boring until you realize the home screen is the new cable bundle wearing sweatpants. Add in an infant formula recall tied to botulism fears, Texas storms and flood threats, measles crossing 2,000 cases again, and the World Cup opening across North America like a 5-week Super Bowl with parking fees, and you have the full picture. The rich are buying orbit. Media companies are buying your remote control. Diseases are staging reunion tours, and the weather is punching Texas like it owes money. In conclusion, today gave us peace that needs a warranty, elections that already smell like 2028, courts arguing over who gets to write history, and markets launching billionaires into financial outer space. Power is moving fast, whether through shipping lanes, court orders, data platforms, defense systems, or plain old money. Regular folks are still standing there with a gas receipt, a weather alert, and a phone full of updates wondering how every headline ends with them paying more. We will be back next time, assuming the streaming box, the stock market, and the Strait of Hormuz do not all require a subscription by morning.